Good morning.
You sat here 2 weeks ago and said, please, no more injuries, no more injuries. You might have to pray a little harder. Can we run through some of them, please?
Yeah.
I guess the top of the list is Saka after coming off against Greece. Where is he? I mean, what's the injury? Will we see him tomorrow, or is it a case of just managing him?
Yeah, it's not a serious injury. He's evolving really well. He's done a few things in the last 2 days. Obviously, he wasn't fit enough to play with the national team the second game, but yeah, we are hopeful. We have a training session this afternoon. He did some bits yesterday, so let's see if he can make it on time.
Okay, I know you don't like doing the injury list, but there's obviously quite a few more. Havertz, first of all, because was that precautionary that he wasn't with Germany and is he good to go?
Yeah, he had a few issues, and we've been dealing with that. He's been absolutely brilliant. He has very good communication with the national team, with the manager, and they understood the situation. Obviously, we have modified everything that we could do here, and again, if he trains well today, he's got a good chance to be fit and available.
And Martinelli, is that the same case?
Well, with Gabi, he landed yesterday afternoon here, so we had very short time to be with him. Yesterday he went outside to do a little bit and see how he's feeling, and again today will be another step and understand whether we want to take the risk if he's fit, because I know what the player is going to say, and he's going to be fit for sure.
Some of the others coming back as well, just wondered about progress on Odegaard. There's been lots of conflicting reports about where he is.
Well, I think he's not going to be fit for this game. Next week will be a different story. But again, in that later stage of the rehab where he is at the moment, because he's doing already a lot of stuff, he needs to clear some markers, he needs to clear certain things, he needs to be comfortable doing, especially with the ball. And I think next week will be crucial to understand how close he is.
And the last other bunch, I guess, White, Timber, Zinchenko, any of them back in here, and I told you there was a lot.
They are quite close, the three of them. Again, today we're gonna have to try and push and see who it is, because obviously we are a bit strong with the numbers, especially in our right side. But hopefully we have some positive news today, and we'll have some players back for tomorrow.
Just want to ask you a bit about Kai Havertz. I sat down with him a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about the Bournemouth game and the moment when Odegaard handed him the ball, and I think Odegaard described it as a beautiful moment, and you said, I believe this is the start of something, and he said from that day onwards it sort of flipped a bit of a switch in his brain, and it gave him a level of confidence that he's been able to sort of move on and grow as a player and a person. And I wondered, the biggest change you've seen in him in that time, did you ever imagine he'd get to this point from the point of where he was?
Probably not, but I think that was a turning point for sure. I think the players took ownership, which is the best thing, and they decided to do something for the player. So that straight away made him feel special, it made him feel respected, admired, that everybody was willing and wishing the best for him. He delivered that day. I think the connection towards the supporters went to a different level as well, and everything started to click. And since then, well, the story is unbelievable. His involvement in every match, in what he produces to help us to win matches is incredible, and it's very positive, obviously.
When I spoke to him, we talked about some of the words he got around the place, like courage and resilience and respect and those sort of things, and he sort of said he really feels like he embodies all of those things. He feels like he embodies what this club is about.
Absolutely. I think it's an amazing role model, the way he behaves every day, the way he is as a person, the way he lives his life, how much he loves to play football, to compete. And part of that at the league level is to handle and manage difficult situations, and I think he's an amazing example of that.
And just finally, big news obviously this week with Thomas Tuchel's appointment.
Yeah.
I wondered what your reaction was, given that a number of your players hopefully will be playing under him, what they might get from a coach like him.
Well, they're going to learn a lot. I think he's one of the best coaches in the world, in my opinion, without a doubt. His experience is the way his teams are set up. And yeah, very exciting times. I spoke to a few of the players. Straight away they had a smile in their faces. that's always a good sign.
Thank you.
Okay. Anita from PLB.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm not sure if you spoke about Partey when you were giving us the breakdown of all the players. Is he fit and will he be in contention to start tomorrow?
Yeah, Thomas is fit, yes.
And going back to Kai Havertz and signing him, obviously the fans weren't so convinced at the start with him not being able to contribute with goals. How vindicating is it for you and your team to identify the player of his potential and to now get him performing the way he is?
Well, that was the idea, because we believed that he could do it. He could bring to the team certain things that we didn't have, certain qualities that we were certainly lacking. But it was a big question mark because he wasn't producing what we required as well at that level a year ago or 2 years ago. But we believe with changing the environment could affect him in a really positive way. Every conversation that we had with him, it was very reassuring that, yeah, you have a player that is going to try his very best to try to accomplish the objectives, and then you have to make it work. And it was a difficult start, and at the moment we are in a great place.
Your defence has had so much plaudits both this season and last season, but you haven't managed to keep a clean sheet in the last 3 Premier League games. Are you concerned about that?
Yeah. Well, especially the way we concede certain goals with the little things that we have conceded to concede those goals. So there are room for improvement there. It's about being very consistent and making sure that we play with that level of urgency and cohesion and focus in every action, because in the last few games, especially at home, the way we concede the goals, I wasn't very happy about.
And finally, for me, Bournemouth, a different perspective this season without Dominic Solanke. Only 2 wins so far from the opening games, but what do you feel is their biggest threat?
Well, that they are very well coached, they are super intense team, really, really competitive, very clear idea what they want to do it. They should have very different results, in my opinion, to some of the things that they have, especially against the big teams and away from home. But yeah, it's going to be a big challenge. As the international break, going to a place like them, with the courage, with the intensity, with the purpose that they play, we have to be at our best tomorrow. Thank you.
Ian, talkSPORT.
Hi, Mikel, how
Hi,
are you?
yeah, good, thank you.
Thomas Tuchel, you described as one of the best managers in the world when asked about getting the England job. Pep Guardiola was linked with it as well, another one of the best managers in the world. Is it, for you, what does it say about the coaching by English coaches in this country that we couldn't find an English coach to rival those two?
I understand the opinions and the feelings, obviously, but that's a responsibility for the FA to say, okay, the first filter is only English managers, or the filters is any manager from any country, and we select the best for the moment that we are in right now. And I understand that it can feel sad for some people not to have an English manager there, and the history tells you as well how important this could be. But I think I would take a lot of pride that a lot of managers, a lot of people would do anything to become the England manager. And that's related to, as a foreigner, how we are treated in this country. You know, how much we love the passion, the respect, the history, and the way things are done in this country. And that's some stage, and I can say personally, that you feel so related to where you are, even you are not from here. And I think that's a huge thing that I think very little countries can say that.
I mean, you've been in so long that you're kind of English. If one day...
Certainly, I look English, especially in July.
If one day you were to be an international manager, would
Yeah.
you say to yourself, because I'm Spanish, I only want to manage Spain? Or
No.
would you...
No, I tell you right now, you know, the feeling that I have, for me, this is like home. I've been here 22 years. You know, and I have that feeling towards it because I always feel respected. You know, I always feel welcome, and I always feel inspired by this country, by the legacy and the history of football, and how you get treated daily. And that's something that, as a country, I think you guys have to be so proud about.
Finally, it's a long way down the line, but maybe one day Jack Wilshere could be an England manager. You brought him into the coaching staff here. You played with
We,
him.
not me. We did it as a club, and I think it's been phenomenal. Yeah.
How good is he? And if reports are to be believed, he might be heading for a new challenge. How good can he be?
He's been great. Obviously, everybody knows about the career, about his character, and he's a really special personality, you know, and his attachment to the football club is unique. He had it, he has this aura, his charisma, his way to connecting with the club and the people, and since he came here, he had a real impact, because he's been an inspiration for the kids because of his history with the club and the way he did it, in the manner that he did it, and yeah, what comes next, that's his decision and the club as well.
Art, Athletic.
Hi Mikel, I was just wanting to take you back to something you said in pre-season about almost sequencing kind of game plans for specific opponents that come up that's similar to each other in a period of time. I found it interesting at the time. I was just wondering if that's actually been able to come into play this season, how that's kind of gone.
Yeah, well, we try to plan in the international breaks what we're going to have next, and what are the similarities of those things, and with the limited time that we have, okay, what are the patterns, what are the things that are going to be efficient, you know, that we can work on in the majority of the matches. And for the next one is a bit different to the previous one, especially because you play certain games at home and then away, and the sequencing is a bit different. But it's true that the weeks are gonna look different. We have more -2s and -1 to train comparing to the previous one. So yeah, adapt.
In terms of that efficiency, has that been a different challenge for you this year, or is it something you and your coaching staff are kind of used to now?
I would see it as an opportunity, you know, that after analyzing everything, how can we simplify the game in a really efficient way to be super clear with the team, what requires in that specific moment to be better than the opponent and win the game.
Simon, Evening Standard.
Mikel, we've got 7 games now before the next international break. With Martin, are you confident that at some point during these 7 games you'll get him back playing?
Yes, hopefully, yes.
And just on Tomiyasu as well, it's been reported he picked up an issue in that Southampton game. Has he had a setback in terms of coming back from that knee injury? Do you know how long he's going to be out for?
Yeah, we don't know that. It doesn't look like, hopefully, a long period, but we have to see when he comes back, you know, how he reacts to the load and to the impact on the pitch as well. But yeah, we really need him, you know. He's been incredible. His work rate, the amount of hours that he's put in to get back, he did it, and he was in great shape, and now he's got something else again. But we are all behind him. He needs our support, and hopefully he will be fine.
Okay, finally the live section to James, ESPN.
If they confirmed that they spoke to about 10 candidates for the job, many of them were back in August. You hadn't signed a new deal at Arsenal then, so did they...
No, I didn't speak to the effect. I'm not one of those 10.
I mean, I know you're obviously very happy here, but don't you think you might go into international management one day?
Well, I have enough right now, with all the responsibilities and the amount of things that we want to achieve and do here. So at the moment, I'm not thinking about that.
And obviously, Bournemouth, Shakhtar, Liverpool in the next sort of week. Do you feel the team's in a better place sort of mentally to handle these kind of challenges now of switching between competitions, 3 big games in 8 days?
Yeah, we certainly have more experience to do that. In the past, or in the previous, period, we showed that under very specific circumstances, different contexts, we were able to perform and get the results that we wanted. So now we have a different challenge, and yeah, availability is going to be key as well, because we need certain players back as quick as possible, some very important ones as well, that is going to make the process better and more efficient.
Okay, that finishes the live section.